Hello and good evening. Wednesday, 9, I'm sorry, right? 8/28/24. Can't believe it. We almost are into September, and this weekend is Labor Day. So, thank you for joining me tonight. I've got backstage one of the authors I'm going to bring up on stage, and we've got some other authors that are going to pop in and pop out as we talk about our next book project that's called Leaving Stronger Than You Started. This book is, oh my gosh, it's going to be just one of our best titles yet. Uh, the authors haven't even seen the final versions and the final revisions, but of course, being part of the book publishing team, I've been seeing how it's coming together, and there's some surprises we're going to announce tonight. But I really, so I'm so excited, and we're going to announce the book launch date, which I'll just tell you right now is September 24th at Sparksman Wharf, and all the public's invited. But we're going to announce some surprises with that has even come together as recent as today, one of the elements. So please stay with us as I bring up some of our co-authors. And I really would like us to talk tonight about what they've contributed and what they've written and what their what their purpose is of their chapter and what they're publishing to the world, because it's very significant, and I don't think very significant is quite concise, but is certainly impactful. So let's go and let's invite our first guest up. So his name is G.S. Jerry, and he's actually pretty well known as a two-time fiction author. I'm so pleased that he's decided to join us nonfiction group. And I'm also going to bring up Nia, sorry, Dasani, who's coming in from Seattle, Washington, and not. So let's bring her on stage. Welcome, Nia.
Hi.
Welcome, Jerry.
Hey, welcome. Hey, thanks for having me on.
Great. Well, thanks for being here. And I know there'll be other authors, as I said, that will pop in and out. So we'll start with the two of you. So first of all, I also want to say that we're very excited that Nia is flying in from Seattle for the book launch in person for this event. And we see another co-author coming here. So we're going to add him to the stage. We've got Jason R. Harrington. Welcome aboard. No time to rest. Once you're backstage, I pull you right up. Thank you for joining us. Um, and I was just mentioning before we dig into how great all of your chapters are. I wanted to let everyone know that on the book launch, which is on Tuesday night, September 24th at 5 p.m. in the evening at Sparksman Wharf. At that night, we not only have Nia coming in from Seattle, but we also have one of our co-authors flying in from New York, and we might have another one from out of state, and then all of our great group of authors that are on this for now. So, all right. So thank you again for joining us. This is our live stream. Where we're going to talk about tonight, we only have 45 minutes, so it will go fast. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to introduce these co-authors and their chapters and what they've written and the impactful message that they have to share to encourage you to take part of our next book launch, book release of Leaving Stronger Than You Started. So I would like to start with Jerry, and then I'll just kind of might ask you your question, finding peace in the storm. Sorry, I heard a little bit of background noise here on my end. You really take the reader through your life, your young life. How are you like maybe 15 or 16? About what age were you when you start before you even you want to go into the military? How old are you?
I think I'm about 16 or 17 years old. So
Yeah.
that's the plan. The job that I chose in the Navy had like a 9-month wait. And so, I was waiting to join the military. And then, I met my girlfriend, who is now my wife. We've been married almost 20 years now. And so, yeah, it's quite a story.
It's quite a story, and definitely the young love. You're against the odds, right? The statistics of meeting someone that age, and then now, and you have 5 kids, and the 6th to be born, right?
Yeah, 6 is on the way. So
Congrats, man.
Yes,
Yeah,
congratulations, 100%. What I love about your story, and I'd like you to dig in a little bit more, is, so just what we said, very against the odds, so to speak, against the statistics, you have had this, built this amazing relationship, marriage, family, and such. And you talk about in the book of, you thought you were going to do this, and then because of something else, that didn't happen. And then, you thought this was going to happen, right? And then because of something else, that didn't
That's right.
happen. Yeah, just tell the listeners, a little bit about how over, and you said 20 years. Is that what you said?
Yeah,
Mary?
almost 20 years. It'll be 20 years next year.
Yeah, almost 20 years. Just kind of tell the readers your perspective through that, which is your, going through door after door and remaining strong and understanding that you might be moved by life, but how did you end up, having the peace that you have? Because that's a lot of your story.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so when you're a teenager, right, you think you know everything, you've got everything figured out. You're going to make all these plans. It's all going to come true. We're all going to have $1 million and live happily ever after. And that's just not realistic. And so I like to say, you're pretty naive when you're a teenager. And so we actually found out that my wife was pregnant when I was 18 years old. And so I'm, of course, like, I'm never going to be that guy. I'm never going to get my girlfriend pregnant. Like, I'm smart. I use my brain. Clearly not the case. And so my wife gets pregnant. We find out, shortly after like February or March of that year. And so I was already about to join the military anyway in July. And so I was like, all right, well, no stopping it now. So I go to the military, I go to boot camp, and then she has, our first son in October of 2005. And, everybody has that moment, that life-changing experience. And for me, it was having kids. Like, it was just amazing, overwhelming, right? Like anybody who has children, right, they know kind of that experience. And not a big crier, but every time one of my kids are born, I cry like a little girl. And so it's just such an overwhelming experience, and it changed my life. And so as I go through it, looking back, I'm like, I was gonna have like one kid, maybe two, like that's my plan, and here I am about to have 6 kids. So like the saying goes, you want to make God laugh, tell him about your plans.
So Jerry, you can write another book about 6 kids. I'm done with 2.
Oh. Yeah, right.
This is so true.
Did you find it, how different was it for you to write nonfiction versus fiction? Because as I said, you're a 2-time fiction writer. Your fiction books are hilarious. And I did read some when we were proofing some, levity in this writing, but how different was that for you as an experience as a writer? Author?
I liked it. So I tried to actually write my first book a little like nonfiction, but more like creative nonfiction, because it is based on a true story. So I try to keep a lot of the details the same of what really happened. I just change all the places, the locations, and names of people. So, you got to protect the innocent. But I liked it. I get to tell my story. I get to tell, about my family and stuff, which I really don't get to talk about all that much. And so, mine's kind of about overcoming teenage pregnancy. But, you have like 16 and pregnant and all that. And that show actually came out like the year after we had our first one. I was like, oh, we just missed the cutoff. We could have been on that show.
That's funny. Okay, well, let me ask you, Nia. Let's go to you for a moment. So in your chapter, you write that you say, at the age of 24, I'm married. We moved to America with high hopes and dreams. And as we are this age, not so close to 24 anymore, it's such a young age when I think back to, when I was 24 and that. So, it's a very young age, whole new country, married and all of that. You write about that with all your high hopes, and then, not to be a spoiler here, but then something happens after the next thing. What did you hang on to, or can you remember, kind of get back into that 24-year-old, how you felt with what you went through a bit?
I like that question, Lisa. I think all of us, hang on to one thing, that is hope. And, hope is something that gives us power to think beyond our imagination. And hope gives us something that we can work on in our life, because that's one thing we can count for, which will work towards us if we really put our heart and soul into something that we are passionate about. And a lot of times when I'm even mentoring somebody, when they ask like, the imposter syndrome kicks in us all the time, where you start comparing yourself, especially in the today's social media world, like a 20-year-old is doing better than me as a 40-year-old. And we have to remember one thing, that comparing is great if it's coming for something good. But if we are still working on our actions and our desires and our passion, we will make it through. And I think it all comes down to just having that single level of hope that we can achieve whatever we want in life. We just have to find our path. And a lot of times we get lost. And I talk about the silence in my life, how I had been silenced many times. And when I say silence, it's not a thriller movie. Nobody's putting a mask over my mouth and kidnapping me. But we have been silenced at different points in my life. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, for sure. And it's almost like they talk about, the brain's a muscle and that it's almost that muscle of hope, I think, right? That becomes bigger and it grows because you become more secure in trusting, right? So it's almost hope and trust for me, kind of the same thing, right? Okay, I trust that this is going to work out. I trust that, this wasn't my dream job, I thought, but I'm going to trust that the one I got might be better, which is just something you learn and grows and grows. And as we proofed your chapter, we loved it. There's so many elements to it, and you've talked on it a bit. And I want to get to your podcast in a moment, but you really show the journey in your chapter of, okay, then I did this, and it became that, and you would say, let me specifically talk about a position that was a good position for you, but you were overqualified, or you were qualified, but then they put you in a position that wasn't, to that position. And that happens quite a lot, right? And people quit, or people are sour, or people let that define them. But you didn't do that, and it really paid off. Do you want to maybe talk about that for a moment?
It's a fight, especially for a lot of women in the corporate world. And it's a fight against the silence. It's a declaration that our voices matter and our stories need to be told, because we just take sometimes what comes to us. Just because I did not work in this country for many years, I took something that came to me thinking I might reach this level because I was promised that. But the promise are never kept. I did not know that. And so I thought I deserved to be heard, but I did not deserve to have that setback upon me that I don't belong in that company, I don't belong in that position. So while I poured my heart and soul into those pages of the company, I had to share my pain, I had to inspire, I had to connect, and I had to empower in some ways. And the only way I could have done that time was by quitting, knowing that I am so much more worth it. And I was not felt worthless there, but I know that I was not felt at a position where I could empower others, where I actually belonged.
Right. You can't stay where there's no potential, right? In any area, it has to at least have some potential growth or career path or whatever that is. All right, we're definitely gonna talk about your fantastic podcast, but let me move on to Jason for a moment. So Jason, wow, you're talking about freedom, being from the city called Freedom. Who knew that there was a city called Freedom? So you have to read the book to understand that and where he's from. But what I love about what you share is you've really had, from my perspective and what limited amount that I know about you, you've had this life in New York and you have this life in Florida, and they are so 100% different, right? In life.
Yeah, I would say that's pretty accurate. Yeah.
And so you share so much about living in New York and all that your profession at that time and the circles you ran in and what your activities were. And I don't know anything about New York except for what I watch in films and TV. I'm sure it's completely wrong. But I really I think I know readers are going to love to dig into it and read it. And, you really paint the world that you lived in. Can you talk a little bit about that, and then maybe kind of take us through how then, that became your yesterday in a big way?
Yeah, sure. First, thanks for having me. I appreciate that. Jerry, Naya, I'm just listening to you two. I can't wait to read your stories. So I'm excited for that.
Thank you.
Probably super excited. So I was I grew up in a small town It's probably never why you heard of Freedom, New York. It was like 2,000 people and 100,000 cows, and ended up in New York City, practicing as an attorney. But even prior to that, I got into went through a number of arrests, a lot of mischievous behavior, a lot of drugs, alcohol, women, strip clubs. And then when it got to New York, that just went on steroids. And I just lived that life of just, it was really kind of a double life in a lot of different ways. But I caused a lot of destruction, a lot of damage to those around me, including the relationships and employers even. And I was just a bull in a china shop, for whatever reason. It all stems from, fear and insecurities and whatnot. But that was my life. And then June 30th, 2020, 4 p.m., surrendered it all to Christ, and he just took it all from me that day, that moment, in a very miraculous way. It was a beautiful story, and I could write about that just like in volumes of encyclopedias on.
All of you could write your own book based on your chapter, honestly.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
that's how we feel. But so really, when you look back, I mean, that's not really that long ago, June 30th of 2020, right? I mean, it seems like yesterday a lot of time that's 2020 that,
yeah.
Right? How did you, just because you brought it up and the idea that, I call them, you ran over people or damaged relationships, being focused on what you were focused on. How has that been work to restore some of the relationships, to go back? I mean, how do you handle that? Because there's a lot of, we're all human and have to deal with that.
Great question. And the fact is I still have to reconcile relationships, to be quite honest. There's forgiveness, right? Forgiving yourself, forgiving others. And then there's reconciliation if the Lord grants it. And then there's restoration if the Lord grants it. But sometimes we don't reconcile relationships, and we don't restore relationships because they're meant to be where they're at. And that's it. And sometimes it would be just overstepping boundaries within my marriage to try to reconcile or restore a relationship with someone. So just being attentive to the Lord and all that. But it's interesting you asked it. I bullied a lot too. I was a bullier. I bullied everyone. I just had a dream 2 nights ago about someone I really, really bullied, and I ran him over in a car in this dream. And he went immediately on my prayer list, and immediately I got to find this guy and just apologize. And I've had to do that. Over the course of since I've been walking with the Lord, over the past 4 years, of just kind of like, the Lord brings me something, I seek forgiveness on it, and the Lord says, hey, reach out to this person, because an apology goes a long way with someone. So I will track that person down somehow, some way, and either shoot them an email, shoot them a text, give them a call, say, hey, this is how I acted, and I'm so sorry for that. And just, I'm so sorry. And you'd be surprised at the responses. Sometimes people are just like, I don't even remember that.
Right. There's that.
But sometimes it's like, sometimes I don't get a response, or sometimes it's just a cold thank you, and that's okay. That's okay.
Right. I love that. What is that, Earl? I was like, what is that show, right? When Earl wrote down, right? Remember that show?
The guy had funky hair back in the day. It was on Fox.
Yeah, he had this list of everyone that he had harmed, and the whole show was to go find it, right? Something Earl. I want to say it's Earl.
What about Earl? Wasn't it? Or something
what
like
about
that?
Earl? I was thinking
my
about
name's
that.
Earl. I think Jared's got it.
My name's Earl. That's right. Okay, my name's Lisa. There you go. No, it does go back to kind of that. Well, 2 things as you were talking that I thought about. It might have taken me up to 6 years ago, because I'm trying to remember what I had done. And then I heard God speak to me, and what he said, and it was having that entitled, attitude, self-attitude. And I remember that what he told me, I was standing in line somewhere, and he told me, I love that person. So maybe it was a dry cleaner or Starbucks, who knows, right? Mm-hmm. And he was saying, I love that person just as much as I love you.
Yeah.
and it really, made me, oh my gosh, get real, to
Yeah.
myself, stop, you're no better, and you have to treat everyone with kindness and love. There's none of that for sure. And then the other thing that you said, I thought that was so important is that, some people don't remember. Like I'm sure, they just don't remember at all, but yet you're hanging on to it. So then there's that part
Yep.
that,
Yep.
there. But then some people, just like we say in the, book business, that, words are so powerful. In the
Life and death.
Bible, it says that. I mean,
Life and
right? They have the you can life and death. So a unkind word or treating someone, talking to someone poorly, and all of that really could hurt them beyond our understanding. So I love that you are like, I have call them, I try to track them down to find them, like Earl, hoping that you haven't hurt them.
Yeah, sure.
Any feedback on that other than that show? Just kidding.
No. I mean, I try my darndest, and I seek the Lord in it all. And my morning prayers, my evening prayers, my daily prayers, just like, Lord, like, what do you want me to do here? What do you want me to do? Do you want me to go pursue this person? Because I will. And sometimes, and you kind of allude to something that just clicked with me now. Is like, sometimes in me apologizing, there's healing I find in that moment.
Yep.
For me, maybe it's a forgiveness towards myself and et cetera, et cetera. But the Lord's always working. But so, yeah. Anyways, I
Okay.
answered the question.
Well, I want to talk about a section in our book that's super fun, and it kind of led us to do something even more special in the book launch celebration. And so there is a section in the book that's called It's My Jam. And you guys might not even know about this, but you'll know why we asked you what we asked you, right? So we asked all of our authors to list out, I think it was your top 3 songs that you love, that that is your jam. And I'll just let you know what mine are and how it came up. And I do think it was when I was in my 20s. Someone asked me this, and what I recognized with my songs back then, it's been so long, that 2 of them were about sunshine. Maybe all 3 of them were. And it was like the top 3, Walking on Sunshine, and then Here Comes the Sun. That's what it was. And I can't remember the third one, but at least the 2 were. And I thought that was interesting. And I love that. I love those songs now. And I also recognize that I'm very blessed to almost all the time I wake up, it's a great day. And
Yeah.
not everyone wakes up that way. And I know that's just a blessing from God. But so in addition to that, my favorite jam song, like when I need to get psyched, I have it full blast, the happy song, right? The Pharrell Williams. That is so my song. So we asked all of you. Yes, right. So we asked all of the authors, I want you to share what your songs are and why. And one of the reasons that we put it in the book and we thought it's important is because, it's leaving stronger than you started. We're all still, even though we got through those doors and we're writing about what we've learned and what we've gone through, we still have to get up every day. And in Seattle, there's not a lot of sun, at least before global warming. And, even with the great sun in Florida, there's hard days. There are hard days and there are hard tasks we have to do. And there are difficult people that, yes, we should love and be great too, but they might still make our jobs difficult or our lives difficult. So how do you stay inspired? We thought, let's inspire some of our readers with that section. Let's start with you, Nia, if you don't mind. We'll go ladies first. Tell us what your 3 songs are, if you remember. What you get.
Sorry, I was on mute. Yes, so one of my most favorite songs is This Girl Is on Fire. And I think most of us kind of recognize this song by Alicia Keys. I think this really lifts me up. And I'm not a singer anymore, but I'm passionate for singing.
Okay.
So I did sing this song a couple lines at one of the events at closing. So maybe I'll sing it for you guys when at the launch event. Just
All
for
right.
Not maybe. You're on the program, girl. You're on the
You've already
program.
said it.
Yes.
Now you got to do it.
Yep.
Right?
So I
Very
love that
cool.
song. It gives me really like a fire from inside whenever I hear it. The tone, the lyrics, everything is on point, and it just gives me this energy that I want, and I love, and I'm a big fan of Eminem, but I cannot hear them around my kids. So that's why I've not
Yeah.
listed that as my top three songs, but I am passionate about a few songs of Eminem. But Alicia Keys does that fabulously. So that's my number one song.
Yes.
And
Very cool.
I think the next two are Lose Yourself by Eminem, which is also one, which is
That's a
the
good one.
best one. Whenever I'm not feeling like I need to work out or I'm feeling lazy to go
Right.
to a hike, I'm a hiker. I just hear Lose Yourself, and I will go in for whatever I need to do at that moment.
I love that. And Crystal just joined in, says she absolutely loves that song. It got her through a lot of tough times. She's a great gal that I know in my network. And you reminded me because Nia, in your chapter, you do talk about your hiking, and you talk about what that does to inspire you and to refresh you, and just such rock star advice. And if you would right now, because I don't want to forget, you're also a podcaster. Tell everyone what the name of your podcast is, because it's so rock star, and what your purpose is for it, please.
Yes, it is, as it is, a lot of you can see as my title here. It's called Women in the Making. The goal was to, inspire women around the world, men and women. And you'll be surprised, my analytics say men watch my show more than women. Can you believe it? And I was
I didn't know
surprised.
that.
Yes, I have more analytics of men watching this show than women, which
Wow.
means I'll be coming up with something new to maybe interview men in the future.
Men in the making.
But the show is all about, bringing reality to life about women. And there are 1,000 shows that women can watch. But I wanted to bring women who are not there yet in their journey where everybody wants to interview them, right? We all see a lot of celebrities are interviewed all the time. But the women, from the time that they are reaching their success, is that's when you want to interview them. Is you know their journey, you know their resilience, you know where they have come from, and then reach at a point where you can start interviewing them and learn about their journey, because a lot of times we are struggling now, and that's when we want to hear from each other what is that they're doing at this moment and how we can support them, help them, empower them.
Yeah.
So my goal with this podcast was to bring these women to life, because my journey was so unique. I felt like I never had a voice for so many years. And when I hung out with a lot of stay home moms, when I was a stay home mom, I realized that a lot of these women are extremely intelligent women, but they have quit their careers to raise a family.
Yeah.
And
Toughest job in the world.
yes, and they
Yeah.
realize that at a later point in life, when their kids are older, they're feeling dejected. They feel like they have nothing to look forward to. So I wanted to inspire these women that even when you're around kids, maybe do something little that can empower you. Maybe feel like you belong, other than your family, you belong somewhere that you're passionate about, that you feel like it's your own. And I'm very proud to say I have three people that started doing a job just because of this podcast.
Wow. Wow.
See, and I bet you have even more than that, that you might not even know.
Absolutely.
That maybe you don't know. But yes, we're excited. And so the announcement is she's going to be broadcasting 2 of her podcast episodes from a studio in downtown Tampa when she's here. So we're excited, and she's going to feature one of our co-authors. We're not going to give some names right now, but she is going to feature one of our fantastic rockstar co-authors. Okay, Jerry, tell us about what's your jam? What's your favorite songs?
Yeah, so I just picked songs that I kind of are into right now. And so the first one's called Better by Rajon Moore. And so it's basically singing about God and how he's been here forever. He's the Alpha and the Omega, and none can do him better like him. So he's there through the hard times, the good times, and he's here to stay. And so I feel like it's really uplifting. I'll even work out to it. And so just jam out and I like to listen to it. And has a great beat, as well as great message. And then the other one I had was Sundays the one with Snoop Dogg in it. Who doesn't love Sundays? Except for Chick-fil-A, because everybody wants Chick-fil-A on Sundays. That happens to my family all the time. My 10-year-old would be like, "Let's get Chick-fil-A," and it's Sunday. I'm like, "They're not open on Sundays."
I know,
But yeah, that's a really good one too. But yeah, I try to take Sundays off as much as I can, and so I just love Sundays just in general. So it's a great day. And then the other one is All Because of Mercy by Casting Crowns. And I love that one. It's got a great message too. And it's pretty much, God did everything. It's pretty much the most unfair deal in the whole world, right? You only have to do one thing, believe, and he does everything.
Yeah.
So he loves us even in spite of us. And so also message in all three of those.
Very cool. So it's your jam and God's jam, right? It's his playlist.
Right, we're
so
jamming together
too, then.
That's right.
There you go. It's good. Okay, Jason, what are your songs that you shared?
It kind of like Jer. I'm always rotating, and so I kind of picked three that I was into, and the one is "Masterpiece" by KB. That song, the message in that is really like, you're a masterpiece, period. And I often think about my daughter when I hear that song, and just like, hey, listen, you're a masterpiece, despite what the world may say, despite what the culture may say, despite the lies that are at us daily. You're a masterpiece, and don't ever forget that. That's it, Jay. The other one is another one is "Garden in Manhattan" by Josiah Queen. Actually, KB, who is the artist behind Masterpiece, he's actually a St. Pete cat. He's out of St. Pete.
Oh, wait, that's where I'm from.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And then "Garden in Manhattan" is by this folk artist named Josiah Queen. He's a Tampa guy, believe it or not. I don't know how I stumbled across these guys, but I love them. And "Garden in Manhattan" has a. It's about, first off, it's Manhattan. I lived in Manhattan for a bunch of years of my life, so that the name got me. The Garden in Manhattan is like being a river where it's dry. Is one of the lines in there. Let me be a river where it's dry, and let me go where no one will go, and let me be a garden in a concrete jungle. Is kind of the message behind it. But he has a line in there that is just like, I've just taken hold of, and it's, I want them to know the Jesus that I know, and essentially saying that, like, if they never read a book in a word in the Bible, let my reflection be the Jesus that I know. And that line just like blew me away. When I heard it, I started crying. And then I don't know what the other song is, because I think I changed my song in here. What is it? Is it "Always" by Blink? Or you may not know. Because
Are you asking your wife? Or should I ask the editor? Just kidding.
No.
You're asking the editing.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, no worries, because I'd like to tweak it to a new song. But anyways, if I have in there already that I submitted "Always" by Blink-182, it's a song that me and my wife just jam out to in the car. We listen to a lot of punk music when we're just going from point A to point B, often a long distance road trip. But if it's not that song, I just discovered this song by MBL Worship called "Jesus We Love You, Can't Help Falling in Love with You." And why that song is so important to me is my wife and I walked down the aisle to that song, "Can't Help Falling in Love with You." It's like when Fools Rush In.
Yeah. Fool.
And anyway,
yeah. Wise man say.
Yeah. That's it. But this guy, this worship team, redid the lyrics, and it's a song about Jesus. It's just like the most beautiful song, and my daughter loves it. It's just a cool song. But anyways, thanks, Jared. Yeah, Blink-182.
That's a good one.
I was smiling because it's always the fun on this side of the book publishing business that, oh, can I edit this? Can I edit that? Oh, I don't know this and that. I know, and I'm not saying no, but I mean, there's a point where we are at no on everything because we're so close to the version. So I was just laughing about that. It's like, well, and then I changed it, but I didn't know that's our complete life. So we love it. We do love what we do, but it's just, I had to smile about that. But yeah, no, I was also thinking just one more thing on this whole music subject. So first of all, in this section, we talk about the real life statistics that say, listening to music or music, elevates a person's mood. I mean, there's such a psychological, mental, and
Yeah,
physical part
absolutely.
of listening to music, right? And then we also know, there's the studies of, children's brains develop when they're a musician, when they're playing an instrument. I mean, it's such a powerful music period is such a powerful, tool that we can use. So I love how this came together, this section. I can't even remember 100% how it did come together, but I'm so happy to announce that not only do we have this What's Your Jam part of our book, but we're also going to have a DJ at our book release celebration. So
Right.
we are going to have some great music so we can dance to it. We can celebrate this amazing book that you've all put together, and everyone can just get their jam on, right? And Nia's going to sing, and any of you feel free to be ready to do a little karaoke. I just nominate you all
Never
right
gonna
now.
happen.
Never going to happen. But I think this is going to be really cool. And again, along the theme of, there's struggles, there's hard stuff, but there's also great stuff in this world,
Amen.
and there's great happiness and joy, and it's what we focus on, what we need to focus on more when things are difficult. So that's one of the announcements. The other thing that I wanted to talk to you all about is, and talk to the people that are watching this live stream, and we're going to, repost this as well and send it across our networks. But we have said, obviously, we're going to let people know who you are. So we have your, bios in this book. But what we also thought was interesting is we had one of our editors go through your chapters, and we asked to say, when you read this chapter, what are the adjectives that you would say that describes these authors? Because we're all in business. How many bios have we all read of everybody? How many, even how many headshots that look kind of very standard headshots have we all seen? And that's great, and there's a purpose for it. And I mean, we even have them in this book. But who is that person? Right? How do you get to know a person? It's not by reading their bio or seeing a very stoic headshot. It's about having, reading about what they've gone through and reading about their personal stories, and then really trying to see if you understand who they are, and then let that form who you think they are. And so we put together some adjectives, just a few of all of you based on your stories. So I'm going to put you on the spot, and I'm going to ask you, tell me 2 adjectives that you would like the world to shape who they think you are. Just think of 2. We'll start backwards. Let's start now with Jason. I'm going to put you on the spot. What are the 2 adjectives you'd like the world to think of you?
Forgiven, redeemed. Are those adjectives? I'm not sure, but I'm gonna defer to you as the publisher. Forgiven and
I'm not
redeemed.
the editor, so I can be wrong. I like it. I like it. I would say
that's what I'd hope people get from me.
I love that. Jerry?
I would say unconventional. Pretty much the fact that I'm here even as an author is pretty unique in of itself. I never planned to write any books in general. I'm not a big reader either. I'm the kid who writes, watches movies to do book reports for school. I got too much time on my hands to go play sports and stuff. So the fact that I'm even an author is pretty unconventional. And then, I write my books in a very unique style. I kind of try to break all the rules along the way. So again, people might be like, that sounds crazy, but that's what I like to do. And so it's fun. Keeps the books unique and different. And then I would say perseverance. I've gone through a lot of things, a lot of difficult things, hard things, but also some great things and some great memories. And so I always just try and persevere and see what the Lord would have for me. Always looking to see what the Lord's trying to teach me in any different moment.
I love that. Teachable too, but I love that. Unconventional, 100%. And I've known you a little bit
Yes.
now, so I've known you more than Nia and Jason. So for sure unconventional, and I love the resilience and perseverance. Perfect. All right, Nia, what would you say?
So I had resilience and transformative because words have the power of impact, and the last one will be compelling, especially somebody who is reading this book. So I'll say three: resilience, compelling, and transformative.
That's awesome.
I love that. Well, I was given this label just years ago, and I liked it. And that one gal said, and this is years ago, she's like, Lisa, you're a woman of action. And I'm like, yeah, she's right. And I do run fast, maybe sometimes too fast, and I do talk fast, maybe sometimes too fast. But there's no question that, I am a woman of action, and hopefully they're always the right actions. And then what I'd like people to know or feel from me that, I'm a kind person, and I'm trying to do what's kind for the person, right, to help them. So I hope so. I hope that's what they see. Hopefully I'm not too running too fast so they don't even know what went by. Was that a train? Was that a person? Was that a dog? Who knows what that was? And so hopefully I've learned to slow down just a bit. But no, I love that, and that is part of our book. And I think that readers will enjoy that they not only get to read these incredible chapters that you've all put together, but they get to know a little bit more about you with the songs that you pick, and with the adjectives that we put out there, and then of course they get to read your amazing bios that you guys all have. But okay, I knew that this would go fast, so I've got less than 4 minutes. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm putting in I thought I did in the comments. I put that will be in the post. I thought I did. How about there? Yes, there you go. So that's how you can pre-order the books. And I will tell you, if you hear this live stream, I have a special for you. You can get a buy one, get one. So if you let us know, and there's whether you go on the website and buy, or whether you ping on the network, I am on the LinkedIn, and say, hey, I was listening to the live stream. You said there was a buy one, get one. Absolutely. And that could include, 2 paperback books, or it can include, hey, do you just want to buy a paperback book, and then we'll send the Kindle Nook to someone, or we'll send the ebook to someone. So you get a BOGO just by listening to this live stream or watching it. And then save the date. So we are now, after this event, we are going to be inviting our network, inviting Tampa folks, Greater Tampa folks, New Tampa folks, and St. Petersburg local folks to come out to our amazing book release event, party, light hors d'oeuvres, light heavy hors d'oeuvres, whatever they're called. We'll feed you. We have drinks for you, and we have amazing fun time with our DJ and music, and you get to meet all these authors in person, and it's just a celebration. So help us celebrate the release of this book, Leaving Stronger Than You Started. And with those words, we're going to close this broadcast with the word of inspiration. That is what this book will do. It will inspire you to keep on going and doing all the good in the world that you're doing, and you're going to appreciate reading about all the great good the world is that we have to tell you with the co-authors in these books. Anything else, guys? Say?
Thank you.
Thanks again for having us.
All good?
Thank you.
Okay. All right. See you guys all at the book launch on September 24th. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks,
Yeah,
guys.
look
Bye.
forward to meeting you, Jerry. You too.